hello, everybody, on the newest feature that GameSwift is going to showcase to you. It's called Gaming Show, and I'm going to be the host. So, once again, hello, everybody. My name is Rafał Mojutek-Szczepanek. I'm pretty much the newest member of the GameSwift team, trying to showcase a little bit of the gaming side of the company and the launcher itself. I would love to be talking about games with gamers pretty much every week. Hopefully, it will happen. And we are going to kick off with the episode number 1 today, showcasing what exactly is Web3 gaming and other topics with my wonderful guests. Some of them you already know, some of them you will get to know. Hello, everybody.
Welcome.
Hello. What's going on?
A lot of gamers, a lot of Web3 personas in here. Slayer, Squiddy, Goatfather, and of course Pan Paragraph. You obviously know this guy from many occasions before. Hello, everybody. On the very first episode, I would love to start with somewhat of an origin of how did we exactly became gamers and why gaming is somewhat important in our lives.
All right, I can start. I can take the initiative. So I started gaming when I was like 4 years old. I turned 31 actually 2 weeks ago. So that's 25 years of gaming. And my first game was like Spyro the Dragon. I got hooked right away. And yeah, I think gaming is just like an amazing like alternative reality, like every game is like an alternative reality, a different world where you can just like immerse in and just forget everything about what's going on in your life, and it's a very stimulating experience. I love it. It has been one of those hobbies that I kept with me throughout my whole life, so that's how I started gaming 25 years ago.
That's a great story, Goat. So let me go next. So I started with Pokemon Red when I think I was like 5 or 6 years old. That's how I started. Played a lot of Pokemon with my friends. At the age of 12, I think it became a real addiction gaming. And that's when I started to play FIFA, the soccer game. Yeah, I was just completely hooked 24/7. After that, I didn't play games for a while until Call of Duty Warzone released, and that's when I picked up gaming again. And after that, I went into Web3 gaming. So that's my gaming story. Over to you, Squiddy.
All right, my man Slayer. We got a similar backstory, guys. If you don't know me, my name's Squiddy, the community maestro of Web3 gaming, and repping it with the amazing Superfine. Started off as a gamer again. Pokemon Red, man, the OG Pokemon games, the 90s kids, so it was right on the proper timeline, and spent many hours, then went to the N64, played a lot of FIFA, Ultimate Team, and just have always been gaming my whole life. Pokemon's been a big part of the whole life there too, and a lot of gamers started in Pallet Town, so that's where we kind of got the OG start to my gamer life.
Okay, so now it's my turn. I'm not gonna lie that the beginning of my story with gaming was pretty tough. I love my mama. However, during that time, she read the article about Spider-Man game, and that one of the kids in USA, after like flying with Spider-Man and his super forces, jumped off his balcony. So she was terribly afraid that I'm going to be dead as well by playing these stupid computer games. So I was forbidden to play computer games. It was kind of the forbidden fruit for me. However, I'm not gonna lie, I was the kid, so I was trying to find a way to sneaky play the game while my parents were sleeping or going outside. I started with Total War. Rome Total War. I was loving the strategic games, Age of Empires. That was my beginning. Then I pivoted into the web games because since my computer wasn't that powerful, playing web games was much more convenient for me. So I was playing Run Escape and O Game. The latter was also kind of the spaceship strategy game, which later then brought me into the Star Heroes. And in the middle school, when finally my parents allowed me to play computer games, I started Counter-Strike. I remember that was also pretty tough for me because I was playing on a very small laptop with 13 inches. So I was really struggling with the aim. That's why I mastered sniper weapons, because thanks to the zoom, I was able to see my opponents. And that's how I started. Now I'm having very powerful computer game, but the beginning wasn't that easy.
I really love your stories, guys, and for me that means a lot because you basically started playing games. For example, Godfather, where I was about to be born. You've been playing the games for 25 years. I'm 25 years old, so basically
Really?
your whole gaming life is my whole life. That's really great to hear. I've been a gamer for
Yeah.
like half of my life. I've been playing League of Legends, for example, for like 13 years now. I owe a lot to this game due to my career as a shoutcaster, as a content creator. So looks like gaming unites us all, and the traditional gaming, naturally, for us at least, moved into the Web3 gaming. Is it the new generation of gaming? Is it something different than what we used to play back in the times? That's the topic I would love to be discussing today. And the topic I would love to know, because there's been a lot of discussions about Web3 gaming through last couple of years, I assume. I would love to know your opinion about the main advantage of Web3 gaming, because as traditional gamers, we're able to just download the game, install it, I don't know, pay for it or pay for subscription, and then just play, get some assets, get some statistics, get some new weapons or heroes or anything like that. And if we dislike the game, just uninstall it, and that's all. In Web3 gaming, assets and gaming are a little bit different. I mean, the approach of having a game or an asset in this game is different. In your opinion, what's the main advantage for Web3 gaming? Is it really the blockchain sphere of owning an assets, the token, or maybe anything else?
Yeah, I'll start again. Being able to play dope game, right? And own your stuff, own your assets. I'm sure, like everybody else, we spent countless hours in the game grinding for certain assets, grinding for certain things and power ups in the game too, spending our most valuable asset ourselves, which is time, into these games, and then kind of leaving with like a sour feeling, like, all right, I just put so much into this game, but I don't really feel like I got anything out of it. So the ability to own those assets, if you work hard to get a rare item, it should be yours, right? You spent the time, you worked for that particular game, you worked for that particular item. Instead of having to go again, like back to playing FIFA, the original FIFA Ultimate Team, right? You would get these cards, you'd have to go into a black market to trade them, right? Being able to trade these assets in a secure place with verifiable ownership, I think is the driver for most of these gamers too. Being able to take their gaming to another level and their ownership to another level, being more conscious of our time and what we're building in these spaces. Because again, we've only got so much time. If we're playing in these games and building out these ecosystems, there should be a level playing field when it comes to the publisher and the player.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I definitely agree with that. I think the freedom to trade in-game assets is definitely the main point. As Quiddy said, this has been people have been doing this for like a long time. Actually, there was a time where it was like I think the Venezuelan currency was worth less than World of Warcraft gold.
Oh
At
yeah.
some point, and this just means one thing. People were already like illegally, like risking getting their accounts banned, trading in-game assets and currency, and which was like World of Warcraft gold. So I think that there always has been a true demand for what the blockchain technology allows people to do nowadays. And I would say that maybe the second point, which is one of the main advantages of Web3 games, is like maybe the distribution of wealth throughout the world. Like right now, there are a bunch of like play to airdrop events, And the truth is, like most of them, either you're like a top player or they don't pay that much, right? Like you spend 1 month grinding and you get like $200 or $100. That's not much if you consider the time. But in some places in the world, like $100 is a lot of money. Actually, that's like a full month's salary, and that can actually like change people's lives. Like they're farming like 2 3 airdrops, they get a salary. All of a sudden they're in third world country and they can actually like help their families. They can like buy food for 1 month or something through this. And I think that's beautiful in my opinion.
Yeah, so I think the where we're going is like the financial aspect. That's what's triggering me. And I'm not talking about a lot of money, generational wealth. I'm just talking about if you take a very popular game, FIFA or Warzone, for example, and you buy a skin. You can use the skin, but you cannot do anything in it. So what are you doing? You're throwing away your money. And 1 year later, when they release a new game, they put the rug pull, and your money is gone. So right now you can add the speculation to, for example, a limited edition Rocky Balboa skin in Warzone. You can buy it if it was Web3, and you can trade it. So I think this opens up a complete new world, a new dimension to gaming, and that's the part that's triggering me into Web3 gaming.
Okay, so looks like it's my turn again. So for me, like obviously, I agree with what you already said that full ownership of the in-game assets is the key feature. However, it's pretty sad that Web2 gamers do not necessarily appreciate it, and it is mostly about the communication. It is also mostly about the let's say speculation aspect around those items, because those items in the Web3, they are usually much more expensive than in the Web2 environment, so they treat this as some kind of the risk to their wealth, while it should be quite the opposite. I think that's our scene of early development of this industry. Once the market will be much more mature, gamers are going to appreciate that. However, when you hear them, they don't necessarily expect the full ownership of the in-game assets. That's something weird for us, as we like from the Web3 environment. We are for freedom. We want to have full control over our assets. So maybe it's not for everyone. However, I think since Web3 is rapidly developing, this ownership assets will play even more important role in the future. Another point, and this is from the perspective not of the gamers, but from the gaming studio, in my opinion, none other Web2 game has kind of the feature which is allowing you to onboard users for the currency which is not US dollar, but the currency that you are actually minting. And this is all about the airdrop, because usually the cost per user acquisition equals to the number of the dollars that you spend for the marketing campaign, and not everyone is able to afford it. In the Web3, it is you to mint your own currency, and it doesn't have to be US dollar. It can be your in-game token, and you can incentivize your future user base to try your game. That's, in my opinion, the biggest advantage and the biggest, let's say, improvement that Web3 introduced, because right now this is like gaming is a very competitive landscape. If you cannot afford for the marketing campaign to pay more for cost per of user acquisition than your competition, then you might really struggle. Either your game go viral, but you might really struggle to get those users to your product. With Web3, this is kind of the new gate for low budget games to build their community.
And I would agree on that. That's a huge, huge advantage for the Web3 games. That's why we have a lot of them currently on the market. Maybe not all of them are really, really good, and we would recommend them, we would play them, but some of them are really cool and using their own tokens, kind of using a different approach to creation of the game, because you can gather some money from the community and then spend it towards further development. In other words, in the Web2 world, you just would have to accumulate enormous amount of money to be paying in advance for development, for marketing, for graphics, for everything else. So I do agree on that with you. That's the biggest advantage probably for creators of the games. But what's the danger for Web3 games? Because a lot of people are skeptically looking at Web3 gaming like, okay, it's all about speculation, it's all about money, it's all about, the hype, it pumps, then everybody plays, it dumps, then everybody is just abandoning the game and saying that this game just wasn't good at all. I've been playing it only for the money. Do we believe that this approach of the traditional gamer trying to, onboard themselves into the Web3 world, is it the main danger that everybody is coming just for the money?
No, really depends on the quality of the games. And I think if we come to this point right now, some really good games are starting to get out. But if you look back to like 2 years ago, 1 year ago, the games were not good, and people were only joining for the money. And I think because of this, Web3 gaming was gathering a bad name. It's all scam, it's all hype. There's no real use case. So I think we just need like one or two good games, maybe on mobile, maybe on PC, that really gets a good name among the Web2 gamers. And I think from that point we can, start onboarding a lot of new gamers. So I think the biggest danger, right now, is the amount of bad projects currently in the space, and I think it will take time to mature the overall market. So yeah, that's my answer.
We're hoping Dookie Dash is going to be one of them, baby. We're hoping Dookie Dash is going to be one of them. My friends at the Board 8 Yacht Club. Again, yeah, we need some fun games, right? Everyone always says that, but it's true. And then I still think we're fairly early, but the Web3 gaming, it still offers a great opportunity for people who like what someone's building and have the ability to be super early in that particular process, to be able to build that social and community currency before anybody else, be able to focus on a couple of games. When it comes to, having traditional gamers understand, hey, this blockchain gaming is the future. This is the way that's going to go. We're not there yet. We're still a couple of years out for that to be able to happen. And it's going to be, maybe one or two games that come out of the blue, that are blockchain based, that gets people in, that has the right marketing plan, that's using Superfine for user acquisition. But I think when it comes to those particular dangers, the people that are getting in right now understand how early we are, and we as a space, we are not ready for the general acceptance of people being able to own their assets. There's always going to be a class of people that say, hey, I don't care, I'm fine spending hundreds of dollars a month on a game, on skins, because I enjoy playing the game and I don't expect anything in return. But I think more and more people will start to value their time, and as we kind of move further along in the process. So I would say any dangers right now, still very early, in that regard, and we're not there as a space yet.
Yeah, 100% agree. I think that right now we have like a hybrid audience between like gamers and DJs, and that's because, we also have like, when it comes to games, we also have like games that are still focusing too much on like tokens and NFTs and not on the core product, which is the game. But I think as like new games and better games start to pop out, like that are actually where the standard is close to what we have in standard gaming. And I think as long while that gap, that gap between like the quality of the games that we have in crypto gaming and the quality of the games we have in standard gaming, as that gap starts to shrink, we're going to have more and more gamers. And then these new games that are cool, that are up to the standard of like traditional gaming, they're going to set up the new standards for all crypto games, And I think that the bad projects that we have out there, they're just like focusing on the token, the NFTs, the profit. I think those projects eventually are going to like be washed away, because the competition is just going to like crush them. They're not going to have any chance. Like if you have here like a really cool game that people want to play it, just for fun, just for pure entertainment. And on the other hand, you have like a really bad game where it's like, yo, the token, pumping the NFTs, like this game is gonna always win. And I think it's gonna be like we're gonna have like some sort of natural selection in crypto gaming, and good games are gonna be the new standard, you know?
Bring on the Darwinism, baby.
Yeah.
Let the best games win.
Yeah.
Okay, so in my opinion, the biggest danger for web free gaming producers is that since we are still early in the adoption and in the process of building PR of those web3 games, there is a risk that you might be negatively labeled across the Web2 gamers. I was reading through, for example, the comments about Phantom Galaxy, which was uploaded on the Steam platform, and they were they've been very negative, and most of the people have been highlighting that it's pretty cool game. It's pretty unique, has a couple of interesting ideas. However, it is NFT, and this is kind of the word which is which is connected with a lot of negative emotions across Web2 gamers. So that's obviously the risk, and that's the reason why the biggest gaming studios, they are not playing all in into the Web3. They prefer us and the industry to get more mature and to clean the path for them. It's pretty obvious that they see potential this, especially that they can maximize their revenue by going Web3. However, they prefer to wait, and that's from my perspective the biggest danger, but it's rather temporary.
We all kind of happen to see reactions coming from the traditional gamers that, oh, it's Web3, oh, it's NFT, it's the coin, it's a scam, it's something like that. And yet there were many projects that created this view of basically all Web3 games. And right now we need to be really working hard of, as you just mentioned, Wojtek, to clearing the path towards the brighter future. There are some advantages, there are some dangers for Web3 games, but there is one really important topic because we are in the blockchain sphere, because we are in the NFTs and coin sphere. Everybody will be asking questions. Does the Web3 game should stay free to play and NFTs and coins and everything should be optional, or do we require the minimal amount of money put into the project because you are enjoying the game? Please provide us with some money, because the best games, Web2 games, for example, like The Witcher, like the Cyberpunk, like FIFA, like anything like that, you need to buy the game. You need to pay like $100 to buy the product to be able to play it. In Web3 gaming, sometimes I hear the argument that, yeah, you need to pay us because we are providing you a very good game. But on the other hand, there are some, let's say, microtransactions, for example, like buy these NFTs, take some coins to get advantage over the other players. What is your approach, guys, about the pricing of Web3 games? Shall they remain free to play, or maybe we require a minimal amount of, for example, like a price of a floor price of an NFT to be able to launch the game?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. I think that in traditional gaming we see different like business models when it comes to like games, and there's no like one business model that works better than the others. They all of them all have their pros and cons. We have games where people have to pay just to play them, and it works. We have games where people pay a subscription, like World of Warcraft has been like that for years, and it works. So I think there are different business models there. So answering your question, I don't think that a Web3 game necessarily has to be free. But at this stage where we're very, very early, where most of the games are not finished, I think it's wise to make your game free and like create a different like business model. like where people maybe they buy skins and you get like a percentage of that transaction, or people trade your in-game assets and you get a percentage of that transaction. So I would add the NFTs and blockchain layer, something optional, as just like an extra layer, and I would keep it like out of the game. Like it's not. I think that at this stage where we are very early, you shouldn't require people to have crypto knowledge to fully enjoy your game. And considering also that we don't have any like completely finished game in Web3, most of the games are in beta or alpha, they also should be free.
Yeah, don't disagree. It depends on where the stage of the game is, right? Again, if you've got a full-fledged game and you want to market it like a traditional game and sell it, and you've got the marketing budget to be able to do so, to recoup that, absolutely go for it. I think that we'll see that down the line, but especially right now when everyone's really kind of competing for that, that attention span currency right now, you got to give the easiest possible way to play that game. And a lot of times that's going to be free. And then, most of these projects, they've got their main NFT collection, which are the assets of the game. That gives you a heads up. That gives you a head start. That gives you a little bonus. In some particular games, that gives you the first look at some of the alpha, being able to participate in the early stages of the game. But I think for now too, it's got to be free to play, because it's such a small window too, and people they have such a short attention span. Like, all right, screw that. I'm not gonna pay to play this game right now. Like, I already have this NFT. I gotta pay to enter to this game. There's so many other games that are competing for your attention that might have a larger ROI for your time, where it's like, okay, I'll just wait, or I won't check it out. And that, I feel like that can deter a lot of people right now where we're at in the industry.
Yeah, so I think to play the game, we should not pay. So I think the free-to-play model works the best in Web3 gaming. But that being said, what I see a lot is that projects are selling their assets for a very high price, like $100, $200 for a mint. And I think this is something that won't work. I think if you just see it as traditional gaming, if you buy a chest for $5 or a skin for $20, I think these are the prices we should look for. And if you sell a lot of $25 packs, you still make a lot of money as projects itself. So yeah, that's my opinion about if it should be paid, yes or no.
Yeah, so this is a very good question, especially that so far I haven't came across any Web3 game which was working in the model that you need to pay in advance, like most Web2 games do. And this is mostly due to the fact that I think most of the Web3 gaming studios, they believe in microtransactions, that since we grabbed you into our game, you will pay some for some NFTs and stuff. That's why they want to lure you into their game and then try to take advantage of you being of microtransactions. That's why Web3 games become more and more popular in Asian countries, where pay-to-win genre is one of the most dominant genres across the gaming. When I travel, for example, to Korean Blockchain Week, I spoke with a lot of Korean studios, and they believe that basically, and that's pretty awkward, because here in the Western world, when one of the game is labeled as pay to win, it is like a very negative sentiment, right? But in the Asian countries, when the game is labeled pay to win, it's super cool that this is pay to win, because I don't know what's the reason for that. Maybe due to the fact that there are so many people in the Asian countries. So if you want to stand out of the crowd, you probably seek for your competitive advantage. And I believe that microtransactions in crypto, since they are much more convenient, they are much more easy, they are cheaper, they are also private, and then this might be like very well adapted in pay-to-win model. However, not everywhere across the world. Still, I agree with Squiddy, I agree with Goat that considering the level of quality of those Web3 games, we should probably stay with free to play experience. since we are, as you said, we are clearing the path for the bigger studios. We need to seek for competitive advantage. Attention span is pretty short, so that's why we need to grab people, incentivize them with the airdrop or some other things, and then convince them that our gameplay is cool, and if the game is good, then the game will be well monetized. However, this also, we need to remember about that, a very big risk for the gaming studios, because most of the gaming studios, they rely on the model when they invest, for example, I don't know, $1 million in the production, in the development of the game, and then they have a very big day of premiere. And usually at the day of premiere, they, I don't know, 50% of their costs or even more are paid off, and they are working in much better comfort zone. They can work on the further development of the game. In Web3 gaming, it's pretty different. Usually at the day of the game, if you are free to play, you don't necessarily earn a lot. You need some time for the game to getting monetized. And that's why, in my opinion, a lot of Web3 games, they are becoming dead, because those teams run out of the budget. I know that a lot of those games raise, like, I don't know, crazy amounts of money, like $5-10 million. It is a lot, but they are also spending a crazy amount of dollars for Web3 marketing, which is much more expensive. And that's one of the challenge and the problem in our industry, in my opinion.
But overall, in this industry, there is, let's say, a lot of money here and there, and some studios are making use of it and creating great products. The other studios are just struggling in finding the right path of development, not only to the game, but actually to the product itself. Maybe overpaying this segment, maybe overpaying the marketing, and not delivering the game, or some other obstacles along the way. We all need to evolve. We all need to put a small brick into the whole industry and see how it would look like in the next, I don't know, 3, maybe 5 years. So I do agree on you with that. There are some other approaches to the game itself. For example, like we've been talking about World of Warcraft. You can subscribe to the game to be able to play for a full month. Then you need to continue your subscription. So basically, you need to be paying every single month to be able to continue your journey. But if you acquire enough gold from questing, riding, or anything like that, you can extend your subscription without paying a single cent, because you earned enough assets in the game to be able to allow yourself to pay for the further subscription. So it's like exchanging gold for money and then buying subscription. That's another approach for keeping the gamers in your project. We could elaborate on this topic, but I won't be keeping you for too long, guys. I would love to jump into the GameSwift launcher. What exactly does GameSwift launcher provide for Web3 gamers? Because in my opinion, and I've heard it quite a lot, that it's basically like a Steam platform, but in Web3, collecting many, almost 100 games right now for you to choose. Do I want to play RPG? Do I want to play first-person shooter? Maybe a MOBA? Feel free. There is a list of the games we are providing to you. You can choose them. You can play them with basically one account. Maybe not every game, but most of the game with just the GameSwift account. It just makes gaming so much easier. What are your thoughts about this?
Yeah, so sorry,
oh,
Godfather. I thought
go
that
ahead.
the
No,
question
oh,
yeah,
no,
I
yeah.
just
Go
wanted to
ahead. Go
share.
ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay,
It's all right.
okay. Before I answer a question, there is one of the interesting TikTok which came to my mind, and I agree with one of our viewers, CryptoGrid, writing that one of the biggest issues of Web3 gaming is that there are a lot of people trying to exploit in Web3 gaming economics. And I'm gonna share the screen with one of the TikTok that I previously seen. Let me know if you can see it. Yeah, and that's for example, hamster combat, right? And the way how people try to automate the way of playing the game and extracting its in-game economics. So that's obviously one of the big problems. But answering your question, so I wanted to start with the vision, which pay the foundation for the development. So since like I think most of us agree, we cannot expect from gamers to be familiar with Web3 know-how in order to play any Web3 game. We need to delete this barrier of entry. We cannot require them to, I don't know, sign up with their crypto wallet to save the seed phrase, etc., etc. This is creating lack of the trust, a big barrier, and that's one of the reasons why people are skipping the process. So that's why, while developing GameSwift platform, we wanted to make it easy. So once, for example, you are signing in, we wanted you to be able to, for example, do it with your Google account, with your email. So all you need to do is just to click your email, and you don't need to sign in with your wallet, right? You are basically in. You can download those games from the launcher, and in the meantime, you can be educated how to let's say find out more about gaming. If one of those games required a crypto wallet, you are able to add your own. But the vision was to create in a web GameSwift platform your own built-in wallet, which is a custody wallet, which do not require you to have this Web3 know-how. And that was our vision. That's the way how we wanted to delete the barrier of entry. And in the meantime, we are obviously going to introduce more and more Web3 features, but in the way which is not requiring those non-crypto people to be familiar with them.
Any advantage from the side of the users of the platform, guys? Feel free.
Yeah, I would say I think Woj kind of like covered it, like accessing multiple games through an unique ID, the GameSwift ID. I think that's a very smart idea. Making it Web2 friendly through the Google sign in, I think that kind of nails it. And then also like some cool features, like the fact that you can actually use your extra GPU power, and use it to like get some tokens. That's also a cool way to maybe get a few extra bucks through your in-game activity. And I think those are all cool features that puts GameSwift as one of the leading platforms in the industry.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, that's the point that I missed, and it's like I should be fired from this company for forgetting about this. But yeah, you highlighted the most important point, because obviously Steam Launcher, it allows you to download and play any Web2 game, right? Obviously, Web3 launchers need to be different. They need to have this Web3 SDK. But we've been also thinking what could become our competitive advantage, and that's why we are working really hard on GS AI. So the feature which is allowing you to basically monetize the computing power of your gaming computer. That I believe that if Steam would introduce this kind of feature, they would attract a lot of users in anticipation of like generating some revenue from their powerful PCs. Right now they are relying only on gamers, but imagine what if after finishing the game you are able still to take advantage of your powerful computer. And that's the way how we want to let's say onboard more users into the crypto, as we believe that maybe some of them will not download the GameSwift launcher in order to play some Web3 game, but they might do that in anticipation of using GSWIFT AI. And while being there, they could be convinced to play one of those games. That's our strategy. Thank you, Goat.
Welcome. Yeah, personally, I love it. Actually, we have like a bunch of options. You can like rent your CPU, your GPU storage. You can like run while idle, run while in game, start with system. And I honestly think that nowadays, like since most of like gaming computers never like use all their resources to the maximum, right? You have like 32 gigabytes of RAM. I mean, do you really need that to run nowadays games? Do you really need your GPU at its fullest to run a game? I mean, if you have top end computer maybe don't. And I think that this is kind of cool, like you can actually use that computing power that would go to waste otherwise, to like, yeah, monetize your in-game activity.
Thank you very much, Goat. Squeedy Slayer, do you want to add anything to the discussion?
Yeah, no, I think in general, why do you need a launcher? And a launcher is way more safe. Especially in our Web3 space with a lot of scammers and people trying to scam you. Having like one launcher where you can play the games from is just safe in the first place. So I think that's the core. That's the core point of why we need a launcher. And in the Web3, there are not many launchers yet. I believe Immutable doesn't even have a launcher. So yeah, I see GameSwift doing this is something great because they're like one of the first doing it. They are having it with a Google sign-in custodial wallet. So yeah, GameSwift is doing it good, and the launcher is looking amazing. I already tried it for a couple of games. So yeah, that's why I see the benefit of a launcher.
And I think I echo what he says. I think they're doing some really cool stuff. Excited to follow its continued growth.
Right, I do believe that what's left for us to discuss is basically the last topic of today. What's good on the GameSwift platform? Have you played some games and maybe picked your favorites? I do have some particular games in mind, but I would love for you guys to start. Is there one, maybe even more games on the GameSwift launcher that you really, really like and play, maybe even daily?
Yeah,
So
so
No daily for me yet. As we're I'm working hard. I don't have time to play too many of these games to really dive into, and I don't have my proper PC as I'm traveling. But I see a couple of titles on there that I'm fans of. Like I saw Medieval Empire. I like them over there. But I'm not able to daily play right now, just based off of my current situation and the work that I'm doing with the Superfund.
yeah, so personally, I love Star Heroes. I think it's one of the best Web3 games out there. It's really well polished, and yeah, recently we had like me and Slayer we had like a tournament, 3 versus 3 content creators tournament. It was a blast. I mean, everything works well. And yeah, maybe the second one is one that's a bit underrated, in my opinion, in the space, which is Alaska Gold Rush. I don't think many people are talking about this, but I've tried the game. I've actually tried one of their oldest builds, like maybe 6 months ago or something like that. And the game is actually really cool. It's like a Red Dead Redemption of crypto, basically. And like, yeah, graphics are cool. The gameplay is cool. You have these like Western weapons, like old school of like the cowboy era, New Worlds vibes, and I think it's very cool and it's very underrated. And that will be maybe one of my favorites as well on the GameSwift launcher.
Yeah, I'm going for Star Heroes as well. I've been playing this game with Godfather quite a lot of hours in the Play for Everyone event, and indeed in the creator clash where yeah, my team won, of course. But yeah, I go for Star Heroes.
Let's go.
That's true. That's true. Slayer kicked my ass on the tournament.
yes, I'm not very objective in here since I was supporting financially the development of Star Heroes from the very beginning. However, I'm not gonna lie that this is the game that I played most of my time. I played so much Star Heroes in the first 4 weeks of their debut that my team persuaded me to stop playing the game because the committee became angry that I'm skipping and forgetting about GameSwift and focusing only on playing Star Heroes. So after 4 weeks, when I entered into the top 20 of the leaderboard, I had to stop playing Star Heroes, unfortunately, and focus on the work again. But if I could highlight one of the other games on our platform, I agree with God that Alaska Gold Rush is a very good, under the radar title. I have personal relationship with the founder of Alaska, and I know how much effort they put into the development. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed for them. And I think the game that I am really waiting for is Wider World. Recently on the town hall, we had on our stage in the founder of Wider World, and I was really amazed of what those guys have been building. The level of graphics, it looks basically like a freaking cyberpunk. It's obviously a very let's say demanding and very ambitious product to deliver, but that's one of the games that I'm really waiting for.
Oh yes, I'm also waiting for Wilder World. This game had me at the beginning, at the very intro of it. And yes, I would go with Star Heroes as well. I've been in this project for like a year and a half right now, showcasting the very first tournaments in Star Heroes, attending at Poznań Game Arena on the stand of Star Heroes. So yeah, I'm with this project 100%. I would also love to highlight one of my personal favorites, the Citizen Conflict, the game that recently we had a campaign on Galaxy, I do believe, and you had them on the Town Hall as well. For
It's
me,
also
it
on the
feels like
launcher, as far as I know.
yeah. For me, it feels like a combination of Fortnite and maybe like an Overwatch, because you have different types of heroes and abilities, and a little bit of the classical third-person shooter, control the area, just be really good at the game, and you can basically destroy everybody. Similar case to Star Heroes, esports titles are my thing, and I'm going to vote for them 100%. I do believe that we went over pretty much every topic I wanted to talk with you guys today. That's basically it for the first episode of a gaming show. We explained a little bit of the Web3 gaming from our perspective, from the perspective of gamers, CEOs, creators of content, and other people working really hard in many places of the overall Web3 gaming and blockchain industry. So thank you very much, guys. Hopefully, see you maybe even more at the next episodes upcoming for the next weeks. For now, this is all. So thanks for participation, and see you around.
Take care.
We're having
Thank you,
Bye,
fun.
guys. Thank you.
amazing stream, guys.